here we go.
So is Kamala doing okay?
Nope. She's down, Joe. I think they found out that she's retarded, and now we're basically fucked. Trump is killing us at the polls, so yes, we're going to lose Joe.
Damn it. Wait. What if I come back to run again?
As candidate?
Yeah.
Well, let me put it this way, Joe. The only person in this world who is even more retarded than Kamala Harris is basically you. So no, Joe,
on, man.
You're
Just
not going
give it
back
another
yet.
shot.
Let's let it all play out. Okay, we'll talk later, Joe.
Okay.
Women looking fine up in here.
So is Kamala...
Unbelievable. Wow. Well, guys, who's been paying attention to what's going on tonight? Because holy smokes, I think it's over. I think Kamala Harris's campaign died tonight. So in memoriam, I'm going to pour one out for the Kamala Harris campaign. I'm going to break my no drinking on the weekdays, and I'm going to toast to Bret Baier for single-handedly ruining Kamala Harris's hopes and dreams for being president of the United States. Oh, my God. Wow. Did you guys see that tonight? What an incredible night of entertainment if you're into politics, because you don't see implosions like this very much, my friends. You just don't. So anyways, we're obviously covering the interview tonight. We're going to cover it in some detail, and then we got some other stuff to go over as well. But Bret, you won me back, man. After that Arizona call in 2020, you lost me, but you won me back tonight. Cheers, buddy. That's for you. Anyways, look who's here tonight. Rodney Allen first, US1 second, John Cox, Trace, Danielle, Big B, BN Pro, Troy Man, Susan Michaels. What's up, Susan? Just Mike, Scott Volkovich, US1, Cam Wiley, Oscar in the Hizzy, John Coxway, JJ Jackson, Agent Orange, Randy Atwell, Frankie S, Steve Bernard, Kathy, Hero at Large, Frank Godestagio, Akira Nova, Wicked, Chad Youngkin. Look at all these beautiful people. Kilvy's even in the house tonight. I love it. Kilvy, what's up, man? Fox Hunter, my brother. Donkey, what's going on? Brett deserves a raid. Yeah, take care of that. I do have a dark brew. It's fantastic. Bret Baier totally redeems himself. You know, I was thinking, a Dumb and Dumber. You called Arizona early, and then you go and totally redeem yourself. Like sticking a fork in the Kamala Harris campaign. Dear God. You just don't see that much. Jordan, you eat carburetor for breakfast? No. Oh, no. No, you see what that does to your body. You saw that ad that turns you from a man into a whale, apparently, when you eat carburetor for breakfast. At least that's what happened to that guy. So I don't want to mess with that. That seems very dangerous, my friend. I'd rather not. So DJT is taking off. It's killing it. I love it, Jordan. I love you too, man. You just want somebody to tell her we don't care about what officials say about Trump. We the people elect the president. Amen. Amen. Richie says, I cringed, but my heart was full of joy. Amen. Hobbs, they're trying to get Stormy Daniels back. I know, we're going to talk about that. Good old Rachel Maddow. You know what? Nobody gives a flying flip about Stormy Daniels. That's the truth right there. So if you guys did not see Kamala's Fox News interview tonight, I got some clips for you. So we're gonna go through those. But also, I want to add, I'm not going to cover it today because there's too much to go on. Too much to go through on this interview, and it's late, so I'm not going to be on the longest tonight. But I'll tell you what, the interview was a disaster for Kamala, and meanwhile, Trump did a town hall, women only, in Georgia today, and he did fantastic. He did excellent. So very sharp contrast if you watch both those today. Trump handled it like a pro, and yes, the crowd was a little friendly, whatever. So they're spinning this interview so much like the Kamala campaign. First of all, they shut the interview down, so they knew it was a disaster. David Plouffe and the other campaign advisors were there, consultants, and we're like, shut it down, Bret. And he has to close it off at the end, which I'll show you tonight. But on top of that, so now they're spinning it. They're spinning it out there. Everybody, they have all their paid lackeys, all their paid social influencers saying, Kamala did the most amazing job. She went into a tough place. Oh my God, she showed how a woman can handle a tough interview. Where's Trump handling tough interviews? I'm like, are you guys mentally ill? Like this, to say Trump's not taking tough interviews? That's all he's done for 8 years, except for whenever he gets the Sean Hannity, interview. But other than that, nobody's been really easy on Trump. He goes into the lion's den day after day after day and kills it. And Kamala can't handle one. She couldn't handle one. So, but it was so good to see it. So anyways, you think Biden may run again after this? I mean, it's too late, but that's what that Obama clip was. How funny was that, by the way? I love it. I saw PBD interview Trump. I can't wait to hear it. It's going to be great. Tim Walsh, like the men for Kamala. He probably wrote it. Kilby, you stayed up. I'm glad you stayed up, buddy. I'm glad you stayed up. By the way, if you are wondering, if you're watching on Rumble, I can see your chat a little bit on Rumble. It's not all the way. It's not consistent. This studio does not show the Rumble chat that well. And if you're on X watching, I don't see your comments, unfortunately. They haven't built that into Rumble Studio yet. So I am sorry if you're commenting on X wanting to be part of the conversation. I just don't see the comments. But you can leave them there. I'll get back to you later. But if you want to be involved in the chat, go to my profile, click on the link to my YouTube page, and go there, and you can join in the chat, and that's where I'll catch all of you. All right. So Fox Hunter with the 10 memberships. Thank you, Fox Hunter. Who'd you get in tonight? Susan Michaels, Jay Kenny, Hanjin, Carl Tur, Barbara's back, Smiley Polecat. Well, there you go. Birdie Bug, Brian H, Billy Koopa, Husker Powers back in, Anderson Savage. Welcome to the membership. You guys now have access to all the members' lives on the weekends that I've done, as well as the Discord chat. So just if you want to get into the Discord, jump over onto the community tab where I post, and there's a link right there for you waiting, so you can jump in the Discord chat and chat with us all day long. Thomas Dubois on the house. How you feeling, man? I hope you're doing well. The one, great news on GTI today. It did look good. I think that's very good news. And Kamal can't handle the softball. I know. So, all right, if you missed it today, we're going to go through some of these clips here. And I'm going to start with, let's just start at the beginning. So at the very beginning of the interview, Bret launches into it, and Kamala gets flustered very fast. So check this out for those of you who didn't get to watch. You're going to want to watch this. Here we go.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Dang, Brett, go easy on her.
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration, because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you,
now,
just a number, do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have
it's a
an
rough
immigration
estimate of 6 million people
that
have been
needs to be-
released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question, I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So, looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the Chips and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the... Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please?
But
you have to let me finish,
You
please.
had the White House and the House and the Senate,
and they didn't bring up that bill. I'm in the middle of responding to the point you're raising, and I'd like to finish.
Dang, Bret. Holy smokes. He just went for it. He just kept, I love it. He did what a reporter is supposed to do. He went right after, he called her out on the nonsense. He wasn't trying to let her pontificate on her nonsense. And he just broke it up. I mean, it was beautiful. Those earrings, though, yeah, right. They couldn't speak fast enough into her earrings. Like she was trying to maybe listen to the answers, and she, even if she wasn't. It wasn't fast enough because Bret kept calling her out. I mean, it was unbelievable. He did such a good job. Again, hey Bret, cheers, buddy. Oh my God, that's almost as good tasting as that interview was. He did such a good job. And, you know, we've had to watch Trump go through this for years now, where they just hammer him and they fact check him and they counter him and back and forth. And he handles it. It's like such a champ. Trump knows exactly how to handle it. He knows how to dodge and move. And he knows how, even though Trump doesn't always answer the questions directly either. I'm not going to pretend he does, but he's masterful about how he switches around. Kamala has been saying the same stuff now for months, and Bret wasn't having it. And again, kudos, Bret. I'm so impressed. It was so good. You could tell it was harder than even she expected. She was so thrown off. She had no idea it was going to be this tough. She thought even on Fox News, she thought, oh, I'll get Bret. You know, it might be a little tougher, but I'll be ready. We can do this. This will be great. And he wouldn't let her stop. Again, wonderful. And her answer, first thing we did when we came into office was we tried to get this border bill passed. And Bret wasn't having it. No, that was an amnesty bill. He didn't say the word amnesty. He should have, but that's what it was going to be. And that's why nobody voted for it. That's why they couldn't get it through. And on top of that, and I wish Bret had called her out on this too. I think he does later. But they came into office and they immediately undid all of Trump's executive orders and everything with the border. And they opened it up immediately. Of course, she didn't go through that. And so Bret was really great how he pressed it, though. He's like, how many? And then he called her on it. He fact checks her, which she never gets fact checked. And you could see how mad she was. She did the, what? You don't fact check Kamala, no. You know what I say? You know, I'm going to go through 3 accents right here. That's what Kamala, she was doing that. She was pissed because Kamala she has a roaring temper, and all her aides know it. All her staff knows it. But that joy thing that she presents everywhere, that's not the real Kamala Harris. She is angry. And that's why she runs through staff like crazy. And that anger started to come out, and she was just boiling. Now she composed herself a little and then just went into more word salad. But the great thing is Bret kept it on track. He did so great, in fact, that the Trump campaign gave us this beauty right here where they say our newest ad just dropped. And it's just a replay of the entire Fox News debate. It's just such a good troll. It's unbelievable how funny this is. In fact, this is how I actually got my link to watch the whole debate is from this right here. But the fact our newest ad just dropped and they're like, just watch this whole interview. I'm sorry. That is brilliant marketing. That is just fantastic. So let me catch up with you guys here real quick in the chat. It's rare to see ignorance and confidence and hubris mixed up. So I agree. Yeah. Hero says, was Kamala not expecting these questions? Did she look at any notes? No, I mean, I didn't see her have any notes, which I guess credit to her for that she tried to come in without notes. I mean, man, but he had his notes. And throughout the entire thing, he also kept bringing up clips. He goes into Lake and Riley and the deaths that's happened and is like, are you sorry for these things? And she won't say she's sorry. She'll say it's horrible. And then she keeps going back to Trump. I mean, it's nuts. DJT going to the moon after this. Yeah. I mean, who knows? FGCV having a Modelo. Hey, that's all right. That's all right. I had to go higher end to celebrate tonight though. Modelo's fine, but this is much better. Legal transgender prisoners lover. Yeah. Oh man. You're absolutely right. Oh, here we go. Who is this CB1999? In the chat, they say Kamala crushed it. I don't know what you're talking about. She put Bret in his place. Oh my God, this is amazing. Thank you for coming, CB1999. She killed it. Oh wow, this is fantastic. I love it. I love it. Please just keep saying. How much are you paid for to go and write these chats? This is hilarious. I love it. Somebody needs to go full Will Smith. Get Trump's name out of your mouth. Oh my God. Oh, Bruce J too. Listen to this. I brought the trolls in. I love when the trolls come in. Unfortunately, you guys are too obvious. This catch lie is so lame. Oh man, please. I always love when the trolls come in because it shows how desperate they are. Is that Brooklyn Dad out there? Define L? Is that you? Anyways, let's keep moving because it just gets it gets more and more fun. It really does. Here we go in the illegals. This the next little clip.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said in 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz, that we must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
That was 5 years ago, Bret. That was 5 years ago. You're not allowed to ask me anything since I've changed my mind, Bret. That's just not how this works. You don't talk to Kamala like that. Nuh-uh. 5 years ago. And meanwhile, they go after Trump for stuff that was said 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 9 years ago, 7 years ago, 4. I mean, come on. Are you like serious? Anybody's going to buy that line? And this is 5 years ago, Bret. I love it, though. He didn't let her slide on that. So everybody else would have been like, oh, yeah, answer accepted. No follow-up. Okay, you said 5 years ago. Oh, okay. You changed. Okay, great. Great. Thank you. Thank you for doing this MSNBC interview so we can just lift you up. Instead, he says, no, well, then why you did all this crazy stuff? Why would you flat out pick as a VP a guy who signed all these laws in your state? I mean, in his state recently as governor, made it law. Are you kidding me? And she's like, well, we've made it clear. We'll follow federal law. She's stumbling. She has nothing to say because Bret is actually asking her hard questions. And I love these trolls in the chat. It's fantastic. I love it so much because these people feel the need to jump in and defend their girl. Because Kamala needs you. She does. You know, one thing I've never done? I've never gone into a live show of a streamer like Destiny and been like, oh, I'm going to jump in and be like, Destiny, you're so wrong. Go Trump, you big liar. You people are crazy. I don't have that need. You know, I just follow where I'll listen to them, but I don't go around doing that. You do that when you're desperate. You do that when you're scared. You do that when you know your candidate's a loser. She's DEI Beto. She's DEI Beto, which means she's a loser like Beto, and she made it 3 steps further than him because she's a minority and a woman. That's DEI Beto right there. And that's how DEI Beto can't win presidency. She's going to, it's going to fall apart. So anyways, again, great question by Bret. And then he just, the follow-up, excellent, all of it. And so anyways, more good stuff. Let's keep going through it because there's a lot. And it was so good. So next clip. Now this one's fun because this is about Biden, and Bret does not let her slip on it. Which, let me catch up on the chat a little bit real quick before I go there. You should be paid. They paid the illegal immigrants. You talking the trolls? That's too funny. I love it. Yeah, the trolls are on X bad. Kamal's like the gorilla and Donkey Kong jumping up and down. Willie Brown's ew. How can you sidestep so many questions on your own policies and your own statements? Because they know they cannot defend it. There's no defending her policies. She's atrocious. She's atrocious, and she doesn't have a legitimate, organic, original thought in her brain when it comes to politics and policy ever. She doesn't know what to do. She's been told what to think her entire life. All she's ever done is follow where the opportunity is and rehearse what it's going to take to get that opportunity. That's why she had to sleep with Willie Brown to become attorney general. That's why she had to beg Gavin Newsom to be appointed as a senator. She didn't win an election as a senator. That's why when she went primary, she saw Bernie was so popular. She was like, I'm going to go hard left. I'm going to go hard left in this primary. And she was so terrible at it that Tulsi Gabbard ate her lunch and destroyed her before she got a single vote. And then she becomes vice president because she's DEI Beto. And they're like, well, Kamala's kind of attractive and we need a black woman because I pledged to that. Biden did. And so he makes her vice president. And then she stumbles into being president without a single primary vote. This woman has only said and done everything she needed to do to take the next step forward in her career forever. And never has thought, why am I doing this? Never has thought, what can I come up with? She doesn't have an original thought in her head. And that's why she can't answer these things when they're challenged. Onyx said, Stelter on CNN said she was giving people things to Google like General Milley. Oh my God. Stelter, I can't even watch that fat bastard. That guy looks like if the Joker had just eaten, if the Joker had never put makeup on and then had never exercised, just ate donuts his whole life and then had a baby with George Costanza. That's what Brian Stelter is. I can't even watch him. It's terrible. Dodgers beat the Mets. Oh man. I'll mute the trolls if they get bad, but they're not that bad yet. They're just funny to me. Okay. She didn't win the Senate race. She was appointed senator for an open seat. That's what happened. So I have a twin, Derek Anderson. That's funny. Okay, let's go to the next one. This one is her being asked about Biden and her own comments on Biden's stability.
But you call Donald Trump.
The significance of that.
You call Donald Trump. He's misguided. You say now
he's unstable. He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room. And he has the judgment and the experienced to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And
but,
Donald Trump
but
is.
you talked about it.
And Donald Trump
after George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand.
But Donald Trump is on the ballot. Donald Trump is on the ballot. We're not supposed to talk about hard things. I'm here to talk about Donald Trump is on the ballot. Brett, cheers. You did good, buddy. Did you see her face when he brought up the Biden thing? She literally was stunned. She sat there. It was legit 3 to 5 seconds. So she heard the question about Biden and she went. She was waiting for a thought to pop in her ear. You know how that works. But as soon as it went into the Biden stuff, she deflect, freak out, get away, abandon. I bet she was hearing in her ear, run away, Kamala, retreat. And she's like, Joe Biden is not on the ballot. Donald Trump is. No answer. And Brett, again, totally prepared with receipts. George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to Biden, he was clearly not fit for the job. And she just, Donald Trump, please, Donald Trump. Let's talk about Trump. I mean, just unbelievable. Onyx, why isn't Biden on the ballot? Because you kicked him out because his brain was broke. Now you act like you didn't know. Exactly. It is so true. She's good with her mouth until words come out. I mean, I've only heard from Willa Brown. That's it. He's still alive, should have been on the ballot. Listen, he's probably, at this point, he'd be better. He absolutely would be better at this point. Because so this is the problem with Kamala. By the way, if you guys haven't listened to the Mark Halperin interview with Tucker Carlson, unbelievable. He gives the full story behind the scenes of what happened with Biden, how they didn't want Kamala, but she basically pushed for it. They wanted to have all the things I was saying before, and they were stuck with her, and they were afraid. Biden was afraid for years that she couldn't be president. She would never be able to run against Trump. But she fought for it by basically, as soon as she saw the writing on the wall for Biden, she started assembling her staff. She started getting everything together. She started getting the donors in order, and she was ready to go. And so they felt like Biden was like, well, I got to endorse her. And so she pushed him to do it. But they all were worried about her. And now we're starting to see the repercussions of this, because Joe, for all of his faults, which, his biggest fault right now, we could talk policy, we could talk all those faults, all this past everything, but his biggest fault right now is his freaking brain no longer works 90% of the time. He's an old dude stumbling around. And the problem is that he still has appeal to a lot of regular Joe Americans. He's Scranton Joe, and Scranton Joe would have ran better in the Rust Belt states. Kamala doesn't run better anywhere. She had that initial bump, but now guess what's happening? She's becoming more and more unlikable. And as she becomes more and more unlikable, everybody in these states start thinking, you know what? Do we really want a California liberal running this place? They picked a California liberal. Who is hated more in the majority of America than liberals from California? I mean, maybe a liberal New Yorker, I think, but I'm pretty sure liberal Californians are probably, if you picked a state and a subgroup, political party, I would say California Democrats, California liberals, are probably the most hated people in America in those kind of categories. You go to the Rust Belt, you're going to tell them, like, you gave up Joe Biden so we could have this chick run the place. She's from California, dude. She's a crazy liberal, dude. Like, moderate Democrats aren't having it. And then you get the border stuff, you get the trans stuff, you get all this on top of it, all of her crazy policies. But the California thing sticks as well. Joe could have at least appealed to those people. Oh, he's Joe. He's one of us. He came from Pennsylvania, we'll give him a shot. Liberals from Oregon, says Dubois. The problem with liberals from Oregon is that they don't impact the rest of us enough because Oregon's so small. It doesn't impact the country. Whereas Californians impact the country because if California does something, it's news, So she moved up the more she went down. I like that, Vin. Imagine if Tucker had been the interviewer of Kamala. She won't. She's terrified of Tucker. Also, this guarantees there's no Joe Rogan interview. Guarantees it because she failed so terribly at this that there's no way she could do Rogan now. They were like, you did a free-form 20 minutes with Bret Baier and got your ass kicked. You're not going 3 hours on Rogan. And Rogan would be a little nicer with questions, but Rogan would also be like, hey, Jamie, would you pull that up? Can we fact check that, Jamie? Jamie, can you find that on Google? Like that's what Rogan would do. And it would be absolutely embarrassing. Onyx says, I thought she was going to slap Brett after he called her out on the coup. Kamal's making corn pop look like a good deal. Randy says liberals from Connecticut are hated. Again, Connecticut's just not a big enough deal. I'm talking about across the entire nation, not just in your state. Then, man, Schumer's more annoying than Newsome. Liberals win as most annoying ever with the win. Yeah, I mean, Schumer is definitely up there. Robert Kapke, Trump needs to release a commercial with Kamala saying Trump 300 times during the Fox interview and Trump come on saying I approve this message. I like that. Oh, yeah, I think DJT could definitely go for this. Here, a recipe for greens. Remember when she said she put collard greens in the bathtub? Ugh. I'm sorry, I'm not I'm not eating anything that was soaked in the bathtub. That's a little nasty. That's a little nasty for my taste here. So, all right, let me keep going here. I think this is the last clip I'm going to share on this interview, but this is also really good.
In recent days, your campaign slogan is a new way forward, and it's time to turn the page. You've been vice president for 3.5 years. So what are you turning the page from?
Well, first of all, turning the page from the last decade in which we've been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our country and have Americans literally point fingers at each other. Rhetoric and an approach to leadership that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know. The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up. The strength of an American president, which is one who understands that the vast majority of us have more in common than what separates us.
Madam Vice President, more than 70% of people
that is
tell
about
pollsters,
turning the page on rhetoric that people are frankly exhausted of, Brett.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
you
Vice
and
President.
I both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
Come on, Brett. Come on. You've been running this country for 3.5 years and nobody's happy with the direction of the country. Trump has been running for 10 years. You know what I'm talking about. Actually, I don't. You're crazy. Cheers, Brett. Well done. That deserves a drink right there. Double drink for that one. Actually, I don't. The best part about Brett, too, is he has like no sense of humor. So he means it. He's like straight-laced Bret Baier, just like, what the F is she saying right now? I can't believe, like, what a stupid deflection there. Are you kidding me? Like, let's go to Trump when we're talking about you being in power for 3.5 years. You think the people aren't smart enough to realize that if you've been in power for 3.5 years, but Donald Trump's just been campaigning, they can't tell the difference? That's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Oh my God. Makes me laugh so much. Brett says, "Oh crap, here comes the burden." No, she's so burdened. And to which I'm thinking, aren't you the great, like, you're just the best at unburdening, Kamala? Why don't you just unburden your burden? Unburden these people. I thought that's what you're all about. Unburden the past. That's what we do. There comes the burden. So there's a new slogan. You're not an Indian if you don't vote for me. Oh my God. That's awesome. She's unburdened by intelligence. She got, the thing. She almost did. I think she really wanted to, but then she remembered she could say Trump. There you go. Trump has been running. Just him being alive. That's what she should have said. Brett, honey, Mama wants you to know that just because Donald Trump is alive, that's why the people are so angry. Come on, Brett. You can't be kidding. Let's unburden ourselves of Donald Trump. God, we've tried twice. Brett, to unburden ourselves of him, but he's just running. He won't stop running, Brett. What are we supposed to do, Brett? Please. God, this is so stressful. Please, can you guys get me out of here? That's what's happening. Dems have been present for 12 of the last 6 years. Exactly. 12 of the last 16 years. It's unbelievable. I know. How John says Bret Baier is my new spirit animal. How did Brett go from being such a loser in the MAGA movement to being a hero just like that? Unbelievable. He did it. He did it though, and I'm proud of him. So anyways, like, share, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Please follow if you're on X. I can't answer you if you're on Rumble or X. I'm sorry. It's just broadcasting to you guys, but I don't get I do not get your comments. So if you want to comment, go to my profile, hit that link to YouTube and join on the YouTube stream, and you can be a part of the discussion. But I got to say, I agree with Andrew Schultz after what happened tonight.
Obviously, we got to react to the Trump interview. My reaction is Trump is winning by a landslide.
Okay. Well,
thank you, Andrew. One more time.
Obviously, we got to react to the Trump interview. My reaction is Trump is winning by a landslide.
Okay. Well,
it's true. Everybody's starting to see it. It's getting better and better by the day. Our October surprise is that Kamala is imploding. And as soon as things got tough, she can't handle it. It's unbelievable. Sam O with the 10 memberships. Thank you, Sam O. What an awesome gift. Whitey56 is now in. Greg Kirchner, Nick. Awesome. Ladowski, Scott Chocolate, Paris, Chris, Birdie Bug, Bruce Banner, Motorheads, Elevated Mental, Mac Attack. Welcome to the membership. You guys now get access to the Discord chat and the members' lives on the weekends. Welcome. Glad to have you in. Kilby says, last 4 years and 8 of Obama, Republicans have been the minority. I know. It's like they cannot use the excuse of blaming Trump. The American people are too smart for that. At least most American people. Not all of them, unfortunately. Brett says, can you imagine being at Thanksgiving Day dinner at Kamala's house with a bunch of her drunk relatives? I'd rather chew glass. There'd be a lot more of this happening. That's for you drink till you black out there. Richie Rich, how dumb can you be and still breathe? I mean, look at like some of these responses that have been coming up. So this Scott Adams, who I love, just a great prognosticator, sociologist. And he says tonight, the only headline worth discussing from the Bret Baier interview is that Harris is too dumb for the job. I can't recall ever thinking about that a presidential candidate. This is special. I love it. Thank you, Scott. That's a good one. And he's got one more. My 2-word summary of Kamala Harris in the Bret Baier interview: blithering idiot. Kamala collapse is brutal. And listen, shout out to Scott Adams for calling it this week. He said this is the week of the Kamala collapse. He said it on Sunday. I shared it on here during one of my lives, and sure enough, it's happening. When you like that Charlemagne interview was a whatever, but Trump's interviews on Bloomberg was unbelievably awesome. One of his best interviews ever. Then the town hall, they called out Kamala for not being there. And now the Kamala on Fox News turned out to be way better than any of us expected. And it's fallen apart. And I love all of it. Bathtub greens, you'll go blind. You hear the DNC now release Willie Brown. Isn't Willie? He's like 90, isn't he? Big JR says calls Trump unstable, comes off as totally unstable. She did. And not only was she unstable, she was completely just rude. She was completely rude to this whole thing. In fact, here's Bret talking about how this whole thing started.
When the kicker in football, they call a timeout right before he's going to kick the field goal. They're icing the kicker. So we were supposed to start at 5 p.m. This was the time they gave us. Originally, we were going to do 25 or 30 minutes. They came in and said, well, maybe 20. So it was already getting whittled down. And then the vice president showed up about 5:15. We were pushing the envelope to be able to turn it around for the top of the 6 o'clock. So that's how it started. And I could tell when we started talking that she was going to be tough to redirect without me trying to interrupt. I did this with President Obama. At one point, I just said, Mr. President, I know you like the filibuster. I just didn't even have the chance to sometimes redirect in those ways. I had a lot of other questions.
She started late, and he didn't even have the chance to filibuster because they lied to him about when they'd show up. It's dishonorable. I mean, listen, I won't make too big a deal of that because every once in a while people show up late when they're busy. They're out doing stuff, campaigning. Trump's been late a couple times. Okay, fine. We'll give you that one, Kamala. Okay, you showed up a little late, but then you cut it short. You knew it was an interview. You can't do this when everybody's watching and they're all saying, hey, this is going to be a tough one. Fox News is going to be tough on her. It's going to be super tough. This is the one you got. This is the one everybody's watching to see if you can do it. They're watching this one and you show up late and you cut it early. That is not acceptable. Yeah, the optics are terrible. And the fact that they didn't know that or they didn't care shows you how out of tune they are, how out of touch. They are taking the American people's votes for granted. They don't care. They're not willing to work for them. They're taking it for granted. They're letting it go. They're saying, we're going to win anyways because, A, we probably got some ballots stocked up, just saying. But on top of that, she's lazy. Everybody knows it. Her schedule is super light all the time. And then they think they're dumb enough that they're just, black men aren't happy right now. Let's just throw it out there. We'll give them $50,000 for a business and a loan that'll be paid back, or they don't have to pay back. This is how they think. We'll just throw them a gimme. And then when it doesn't work, they freak out. What? How are they not? I'm telling you, there's so much panic on the Democrat side right now because they cannot figure out why it's not working. They just cannot, except for the fact that she sucks. And that's why the whole place is turning against her. Everybody, the media is starting to turn against her. The campaign aides are fighting. We're getting stories of this every day now. It's just, it's falling apart for her quick. The polls keep getting worse and worse and worse for her. Polymarket now gives Trump a 20-point edge in the betting markets. I mean, it's getting bad. I mean, we used to see this on CNN. And granted, this is their token conservative saying this, but still, this is CNN after the debate tonight from Scott.
No answer for why Biden and Harris threw out Donald Trump's executive orders and changed everything, and then a flood of people came in. An ounce of humility here would go a long way, and she doesn't have it in her to do it, and she has no real answer other than to blame Congress. And Bret was right. Democrats controlled everything when they took over, and so is she saying it's the Democrats' fault that the immigration system is broken? I don't understand this. I don't understand why she can't just say, hindsight here, we shouldn't have done it. I think the American people would actually accept it, but she won't do it.
Brett says, I think it was too early in the day for this interview. She wasn't 2 boxes of wine deep yet. Nunya Biz says she thought she was on with Joy Reid for a minute. Yeah, no joke. I mean, she was looking for help on that Trump comment. Yeah, Brett wasn't having it. Brett is for what it's worth, he's a tough interviewer, and he proved it tonight. Hey, again, cheers to you, Brett. You won it over for me. Al Rogland says Doug's going to wake up with a black eye in the morning. He deserves it after hitting his other chick. But Cap Key, her newest plays up reparations. She did. She dropped that on the Charlemagne the God podcast, which whatever. That's pure desperation right there. Even though it's what they want to do with reparations would cost $14 trillion. So I don't think that one's going to pass. But, Randy says the answer to immigration questions pointed at a bipartisan failed bill 2 years after taking office. Yeah, actually it was 3, wasn't it? SNL should definitely do a skit this weekend. I think it will. I really do. Poly Market tomorrow. It's going to be very interesting, Hobbs. I completely agree with you there. You notice in the close-ups, Kamala's stretch marks around. Oh, Mike, that's bad. That's so bad. Oh, my God. All right, let's keep going. Monica Crowley, well-known reporter, Fox News, but woman, says that was not a presidential campaign interview. That was a career-ending interview. I happen to agree. JD Vance here with the great troll says, to my Democratic friends, maybe you should consider swapping Kamala Harris for Joe Biden. JD, man, he's just quick. He's quick to it all the time. I absolutely love the guy. Again, he is not disappointed as VP. Katie Cat with the 5 memberships. Who'd you get in, Katie? Thank you so much for supporting the show, Katie. You've been one of the OG supporters. Thank you so much. Charlie Rothstein, Eat Some Seaweed, Robert Hicks, Ariana Layden, and Julie Argonne now in the membership. Welcome, welcome. Go ahead and join the Discord if you want, guys. Go to the community and hit that link and jump in. The video of her having a nervous breakdown. I bet if she loses the election, which she will, it'll happen. Buck Sexton posts, I've seen enough. Kamal's done. Trump's winning this election. 0 doubts. I'm pretty much at that point now, too. Buck, by the way, he was great on Bill Maher last Friday. If you guys can stand watching that show, I can actually get through it as long as it's not all libs on there. If there's a conservative on the Bill Maher show, I can watch it because Bill is he's smart enough on some issues. I can stand him. He does have severe TDS, but he calls out liberals on some of their BS, and he's willing to have real conversation with conservatives. So I will watch Bill Maher occasionally. And Buck was great on there the other night. Monica is brilliant, Mike. JB, fact check this. We need to thank Kamal's George Soros donor and puppet master with elevating untalented Harris, tossing Biden under the bus, moving Harris to the top. Amen. If Georgie, if that was you, buddy, here's to you. Here's to the Kamala Harris choice. One of the worst political choices in modern history. Here's to you. Alan Krantz, reparations. Why should we pay no one born in the last 100 years wasn't a slave? I agree. There's literally no logical basis for reparations at all. There just isn't. If there is, then I'm going to go hit up Africa for having European slaves back in the, all the way through the 1800s as well. So that's how you go. Bathtub greens Harris. Where's her grandma? I can't ask you that one or answer that one. Seth Cashel, I need a cigarette after that Harris Bear interview, and I don't even smoke. It's getting so good, guys. And then we had MSNBC today went out trying to find at an early voting location in Arizona, could not find a single person audibly tell us they voted for Kamala Harris. It's getting bad for her, guys. And this is before this interview. This interview is atrocious. It's only going to make things worse, especially with anybody even close to undecided. And MSNBC is out there. You would think MSNBC could sniff a liberal out. They could find him, where's our own, and find at least one. They couldn't find a single person in early voting in Arizona. Early voting used to be Democrats only, at least mostly, and 90% Democrats. They couldn't find one. And so we're getting all these early voting numbers, Georgia, everything, and it's just all Republicans. It's very red. So more and more, guys, it's looking too big to rig. I had a thought today. I got so excited that we are just a little over 2 weeks away from the election. I think it's going to be so unbelievably fun. I cannot wait for that night. I'm going to have lots of good beer and drinks because we're going to have a party up in here. I think it's going to be so overwhelmingly for Trump that they're going to be forced to call it. I'm going to make that call right now. That's what I think is going to happen. And it's going to be They're going to be stuck. Big JR says the immigration bill that didn't pass would have provided citizenship to 8 million illegals, 100%, and it allows in 5,000 new ones every day before they even start to enforce the law. That is why it was defeated. Trader Grow says Kamala campaigned to release statements saying lack of preparation was due to confusing Bret Baier with Joy Behar. Oh, man. Don't tell Bret that. That would be pretty insulting. Dennis Moody says, is she really the best they could offer? No. She wasn't, but they backed themselves into a corner, and in the corner they got stuck because they pushed Biden out. They waited too long to push him out. They didn't run a real primary because they wanted to be in full control of the campaign, and it ended up biting them in the ass. They could not do it. They were terrified, and it got too late, and so they got scared and stuck because they let him go too far. And that's basically what it came down to. And so as soon as Biden endorsed her, they had no choice. They had to go with it. There was not enough time to build up other candidates. And by the way, a lot of the other candidates didn't want it. Newsom didn't want it this year. Whitmer didn't want it this year. None of them wanted to face Trump. They saw how things were trending, and it was too much of an uphill battle. Kamala was the only one who really, really wanted it too. And that's the other problem. They might have been able to get Josh Shapiro to do it in Pennsylvania. Sorry, I don't know why I'm gunky tonight. Maybe it's just this beer so thick. But anyways, they had no one to turn to, and Shapiro wasn't ready to jump in. So, and then they overlooked him for the VP because he's Jewish. So that's probably another reason he wasn't asked. So there you go. They screwed themselves. Newsom is not only crazier than her, Moody. Newsom's scarier because he's charismatic and well-spoken. And that's the problem. Patrick Byrne will fix stock settlement. Yeah, I agree. Randy says, watch the polling go up around November 1st with Trump up 3 to 4 nationally. It's already starting to happen in some polls, you know. It's sniff out bunch. Bernie Sanders is more popular, Brett, but they would never let him control the Democratic Party. They just want it. That's never going to happen. I think this is Biden curse. I mean, it might be. The dude has been a disaster for so long. It could absolutely be a curse. All right, couple last things before we go here. But Candace Owens today has this come out. Kamala Harris secret marriage certificate. So apparently she was married before. So here's another fun November or October surprise coming out. And if Candace is right on this, but I'm going to be following this closely. I just saw this today. I haven't had time to look it over. But if she was actually married before, that's crazy too. What happened to her husband? How do we not know about this? Why is it under wraps? I'm sure there's more that went on there. So that's starting to sneak out as well, which is pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. So this is only going to keep getting worse for her. I have a feeling between her and Walz, who have never gone through a full vetting because they've never gone through primaries before. They've never run in real elections before. Walz was up in Minnesota. That's not national attention. Kamala never has really ran a real campaign before. So at least not all the way through. So they've never had their full vetting happen yet. And now it's starting to happen, and all this stuff's coming out this month. It's going to get really, really bad. Mario, do I think Kamala will concede on election day when she loses? There's one way she concedes. She concedes if it's an absolute landslide that is so out of hand, they have no choice. Because if it gets too big, and I don't mean Trump just barely pulls it off. I mean, it's so massive. At that point, if she doesn't concede, they have no future. I don't think they have much future anyways, but the only way they even have a chance at surviving in the future as a Democratic Party as they are now is to play the game. That's it. Because if they don't concede a landslide, then you just look petty and stupid, and even their side won't believe it, because if it's too big, you just can't do it. What happened to Tim and allegations? I haven't heard anything new, and so I'm not gonna until it follows up, until more comes out on that. I'm not gonna bring it up anymore. Brett, can I imagine how far our national debt would be in trouble if Newsom became president? Yeah, he's bad news. Like I said, he would be like another Obama because he's actually smart. Obama's smart. He is. You'll never hear me say Obama's dumb. Terrible, wicked man, but not dumb. Kamala was married once before. She probably gave him the burden speech and he hit the door like a tweaker to cover that. I like that. Was Kamala married to her brother too, like Ilhan Omar? Oh my God. Now if that happened, that'd be crazy. She's married to P. Diddy. I'm not spreading that around, but that would be wild. P. Diddy was too public though. There's no way that could have been it. Got married in Ozarka. Yeah, I don't know. Juanita Bonetta says, I'm super excited to cast my vote for Donald Trump. I love it. Amber says, ex-Democrat for Trump. I love it. In fact, let's just throw a poll out there, and I imagine it's going to be like 90% or more. But if there are some Kamal people in here, God bless you. But it's not happening. So I'll throw that up there. And go ahead and vote. I want to see how many people are engaged. By the way, if you like the show, like, share, subscribe. I do this 4 or 5 times a week. Go through stuff, especially with the election coming. We break down the news, go through all the relevant stories, cut through the BS of the media, and add my own flair as well. So if you enjoy it, please subscribe, give it a chance. And I'm going to keep showing up. I'll be on again tomorrow. And we're very, very pro-Trump over here, if you haven't noticed. But more than that, we're pro-America, and especially America what it used to be, and doing the best thing for Americans. And we just believe the Democratic Party has lost its ever-loving mind, and they must be stopped at all account. Like there's no in-betweens here, folks. It has to be. So yeah, it's so far 100% Trump. I love it. There's a couple people who might say no because I have some Chase Oliver fans in my audience, but it is what it is. You always get the purists who are okay with nothing ever happening as long as they get to feel good that they voted their way and they kept their pride alive by doing that. That always happens. So American Cynic, Obama's a great BS artist. Absolutely. No way a third grader handled Bret Baier. I like that. I'm seeing a lot of new people tonight too. So awesome. To Congo 420. She blew her way through SF, so she has some skills. They're just not the kind of skills you want as president for a president. But again, I see a lot of new people. So please like, share, subscribe, and hey, throw up a comment if you're new. I'd love to shout you out for your first time here. If it is your first time watching, hey, just go ahead and throw it in the chat. Say first timer. And then say what you think, even if it's an FU, you suck, or if it's, love the show, whatever. Go ahead and throw it in the chat if you're a first timer. I always tend to get people on when the big events nights happen like this. So would love to have your subscription. It's free. And, I appreciate you checking it out. Amber's new. Welcome, Amber. Thanks for checking us out. Hobbs, nice try. Just Mike, I guess I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue. Excellent airplane reference, by the way. My dad raised me right. I watched those airplane movies when I was young, even though they were before my time, even though I'm 41, but they're a few years before. So Kathy Sidlecki, did I say that right? Sidlecki, first timer, welcome. A demon disguised as a goblin. I like that. Brett, Kamal's about as fashionable as a pair of Z Cavaricci's a Hammer concert. What? I don't even know what you're saying. MC Hammer? 32 is many exercises. Jeez. New Frank Mall. Welcome. Al Rogan. Kamal's married at Our Lady of the Wandering Finger. She shortchanged the collection. Oh, dear God, you guys. Am I sure the interview wasn't an SNL skit? It wasn't funny enough. That's the problem. It was sloppy enough. It was wild enough, but it wasn't funny enough. By the way, speaking of that, watching my my daughter tonight, I was showing her, she's 14. but she's getting into all the old comedy. So we were going through some of the old SNL skits, especially with Sandler and Farley. She loves that stuff. And I was watching the Chris Farley show with Jeff Daniels. Remember when in Arachnophobia, you saw that spider down? Man, that was awesome. It's just the best. I got your name right, Kathy. Well, that's awesome. Love it. Old man, God bless you too. Thank you. Chicago first timer, my baby wet behind the ears. It's what I hear. A lot of these old guys give me that. Brett Montgomery, you gotta look up Z Cavarici pants. Okay, let's do it. Let's go before I leave, because we're about to finish up here. Z Cavarici's. Here we go. What the? It's all women wearing these. What are we doing here? What are we doing here, Brett? Are you wearing those? Is that your favorite thought? Deep thoughts with Jack Handy. My favorite deep thought with Jack Handy was if you drop your keys into molten lava, let them go, because man, they're gone. That's the best. Nunya, the Democrat Party left you 10 years ago. Can't vote for Democrat. They're godless, infanticidal, gender bending platform as we voting straight Republican. Wow. Isn't it wild how you just can change like that? It's crazy. Samurai Hotel Belushi is great. Dennis Moody, I can't wait to be unburdened by your presidential terms. The Hammer video with parachute pants. Okay, hold on. Let me see what I can find here. And then I'm going to have to go. What on earth are you talking about? This doesn't even seem to know. No. Oh, it got confused. Oh man, Brett, what do you have me doing here? Z Cavarici. The search got confused. Now I have to rewrite it. I'm trying to find it. I know this is great. This is what everybody wants. Me searching stuff, watching me search, watching me go through a search. Oh, is it? All right, Brett, you're gonna have to help me out here, man. Are you talking MC Hammer? Did MC Hammer wear Z Cavarici? I typed in Z Cavarici Hammer video. Nothing came up. I mean, there's this guy. Kilby, have a great night. Damn on Timmy making his cry again. Not falling for banana in your tailpipe. Birdbug, California's new corrupt law is no ID required to vote. I saw that. Yeah, and you get in trouble if you ask for it. It's wild. Kathy hasn't voted for either party for years, and now you're voting Trump. I love it. Damian Trump will hammer elector for dinner in Buffalo Bill teaching kid. Oh, jeez. Good Lord. Hey, I had one person say not voting for Trump, so there's there. That's it. I'm so good with my fingers typing. That's not creepy. You're so good with your fingers, sir. I can hear you with your fingers. It's so good. All right, this says Z Cavarici. The iconic history. Is this what you're talking about? I mean, I loved MC Hammer. Oh my God, are these what Slater wore in? Is this what Slater used to wear in what's this called? Saved by the Bell? Mind blown. I was always wondering what he wore. Oh, is that Hammer? Go back. Nope. That looks like Paul Abdul. Anyways, I can't. What a deep dive. This is what happens at the end of these lives, guys. It can get off the rails sometimes at the end. You're going to vote for RFK, but now you're voting for Trump. I love it. You know what? You get both now, and it's going to be even better. Vote for Clinton because he said he's going to help veterans. Yeah. Clinton, as terrible as a person he wasn't the worst president. We had Buzz Aldrin, and he said that not Aldrin, Buzz Patterson on, and he said that freaking Clinton, he worked for Clinton, and he said that he was a good president, just a terrible person, which I agree with. So Kamala was born in those in the 80s. That's right. The Can't Touch This video. Oh my God. You guys, what are we doing? If you're still watching, if you could still stand this show, it's going off the rails. So, but I can only go off the rails for a few more minutes because I'm getting tired. And we got a whole nother show to do tomorrow. So, are these Z Cavaricis he wears on here? Can't touch this. I love it. That's what Kamal feels like. Black vote, keep watching a lot of these videos. Young black men, they're just not buying what Kamal and the Democrats are selling anymore. I love it. That's what I'm hoping to see. Absolutely. Let's get wild. Amber, you should, if you want to see where it gets wild, that's where it really gets wild on this show is the member lives. The member lives get off the rails. We just get stupid on the member lives. So we'll go check that. Your second whiskey, your lost country. I didn't even finish my first beer. This is 13.5% though. So, all right, guys. Cheers to Bret Baier. Kamal's campaign is falling apart quick, and I'm so here for it. So, anyways, love you guys. Let's end in a quick little prayer and call it a night. And then tomorrow, I'll be back, and I'm sure more stuff's happening. Good stuff tomorrow. So, anyways, so Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Bless everybody here, God. God, just praise. We protect President Trump. Pray that more and more just favor towards this election, that the American people get what they really want, Lord. And we all believe that's the Trump, RFK, all that, what they represent. Get us back to our basics, Lord, in this country. So bless everybody here. Pray for healing for Thomas, Mike, and whoever else needs it, Lord, Jenny. And just thank you for all you're doing in our lives. And bless us in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Love you guys. Have a great night. This is good times. Cheers to you all. And I will see you all tomorrow, and hopefully with even more good news. See you guys later. Bye-bye.